Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career 3D artist known as Ryan Hawthorne. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about this rather dark aesthetic, and we're also going to explore the brutalist style of design. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, you're struck instantly by the immense scale of the composition before us. We're likely feeling a sense of awe. It just dwarfs us instantly. So what you may also notice when you first look at this work is going to be the impact of color. Of course, we see this kind of red and really this fainted blue there, but the eye is likely to be drawn to the red. Red, of course, is already a very high attention color, but on such a dark aesthetic, it's going to draw our eye instantly. Another thing you may notice is the impact in space. So, of course, the placement within the spatial composition. We see this, of course, most is placed in the center, so it's already going to intensify the visual impact. But aside from that, this work gives us an incredible opportunity to talk about visual rhythm. What do I mean by that? Well, we talked about spatial placement, right? Which you may also notice there's a sense of rhythm, almost like a stair step or a dance that goes downward there. This gives a sense of order to the composition and even inciting a bit of motion in the composition as well, kind of reminiscent of wrought metal in a way. So we talked about this impact of grand scale, right? We see this instantly, and even as a reference, we have this very small subject looking and really dwarfed by the grand scale of the site before us here. When we have such immense scale, it's always going to give us a sense of something greater than ourselves. So that's really going to intensify the impact and say the status of the scene before us. So this work is quite interesting, right? It's actually, it's almost reminiscent of a simulated metaverse, if you will. What do I mean by that? We look and there's kind of this grid far beyond, almost reminiscent of digital rendering programs, and that's quite fitting as this is a piece of 3D art. So absolutely stunning, and of course, it almost seems like our subject and center is kind of dwarfed by this scene here, almost like he's entering a simulation of sorts. It's quite interesting, and with that in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece? A pretty interesting question we may ask. So this work is actually part of the Construct series. The Construct series was really released in January of this year, so 2023. It's released by Ryan Hawthorne, kind of exploring the idea of creative blocks, but really integrating brutalism within that as well. What is brutalism? Well, brutalism is a style of primarily architectural design that seeks to show raw minimalist forms. So we see that here, right? Very, you'll likely see concrete, metal, anything that is very sleek and minimalist, but trying to show the bare bones of that material and the bare bones of form. So we certainly see that within the composition here. Extremely minimalist and, like I said, almost reminiscent of wrought metal in a way. Brutalism is also used in kind of a dark aesthetic. We certainly see that within the composition here. This aesthetic is dark, foreboding, and daunting. And of course, we have the mixture of a red and a black, which is always going to incite this rather dark aesthetic. So absolutely stunning. And like I said, it almost feels like we're in a simulated scape of sorts. It's hard to say exactly what we're looking at here, but that's a perfect opportunity to really ask y'all, what do y'all see when you view this piece, or how do you feel when you view this piece? Pretty interesting questions we may ask. We talked about visual rhythm. Of course, you have all of these intersecting forms that incite a sense of motion within the composition. They also kind of frame the main composition at hand. So, of course, it's always going to draw the eye and give a sense of order to the composition. So, really stunning piece. This was a digital rendering, like I said, is a piece of 3D art. So, digital renderings are really the perfect medium to show a mix of simulated realism and kind of potential accessibility. So, you can kind of move things, sculpt things, and place them wherever you want to create kind of a digital set, and then create a snapshot of what the perspective we see here. So I brought some of the other pieces from the Construct series. We're going to take a look at these and see what we can learn real quick. Alright, so I brought two pieces in here from the Construct series that also belong to the work at hand. So what we talked about, of course, is the style of brutalism. We certainly see that within both instances here. Of course, raw minimalist form, but also kind of a simulated scape, almost like a digital environment. It's hard to say for sure, but all three of these pieces, of course, show a very dark and daunting aesthetic. Of course, the use of black, the use of raw minimalist form, the use of brutalist style of architectural design. It all comes to head in the Construct series. Ryan Hawthorne does an amazing job of really kind of encapsulating the sense of brutalism, the dark and foreboding nature of that as well. So absolutely stunning. And of course, you see in all three instances, you'll see how different things are framed, whether it's intersecting lines, whether they are kind of straight rays, or whether they are much more curved rays. They are all going to intersect and give a sense of framing as well. So there is an order to these compositions, and that cannot be understated when we're looking at these three pieces. This work is actually on the Ethereum blockchain, so if y'all want to support the original artist, it's going to be the best way to do it. I believe it is on OpenSea, although I'm not 100% sure. I do know it is on the Ethereum blockchain. So if y'all want to check out the original artist, support the original artist, it's going to be the best way to do so. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. An absolutely stunning piece and of course a very dark and foreboding aesthetic. What I love is the integration of brutalism in so many different works that I've been studying lately. I don't know if they're coming to me or if I'm just discovering them, but brutalism seems to be making an incredible revival. And like I said, that raw minimalist form is always going to feel dark and foreboding, but it also shows a sense of strength as well. So really hope y'all enjoyed today. A stunning piece, like I said, it is a digital rendering, so incredibly realistic and incredibly accessible and really the perfect thing that you want to simulate realism. So really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all did, go check out the original artist Ryan Hawthorne doing some amazing stuff in the world of 3D art. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.